Guaranteed rate ballpark for game 2 of this 3-game series between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Chicago White Sox. The Blue Jays won 10-5 last night as they hit 5 home runs. Take a look at the lineup for John Gibbons' Blue Jays. Ludis Goryeo is on fire. He's hit .410 in the month of July. That leads the American League, 25 for 61. And Kendrys Morales down in that cleanup spot. He's got 6 home runs and 19 RBIs in his last 16 games against the White Sox. Morales hit a home run last night, 1 of 5. As we mentioned, the Blue Jays pounded out here in Chicago.
They're going to face another young, hard-throwing right-hander. Last night, Ronaldo Lopez. Tonight, Lucas Giolito. 21st start of the season. His first career start versus the Blue Jays. A 7-8 record with a .609 earned run average. That ranks last among major league pitchers in ERA .609. He has also given up an opponent's batting on base percentage of nearly .360. It's amazing how he has won 7 games because they just haven't been able to score many runs for him. He has received 0 runs of support 7 times and 1 run on 3 other occasions. Still, he's 7-8, trying to even his record at 8-8 tonight.
Well, it is quite an accomplishment that he has 7 wins when the White Sox have 36 as a team. So he's actually been their most consistent starter. We are set. Curtis Granderson, the Chicago native, is in the box. Here's the first pitch of the game. It's downstairs for ball 1, and we are underway. Another beautiful evening here in Chicago. Curtis has family and friends in attendance here. Still makes his home here on the south side of Chicago.
Got the Blue Jays off on a good note in last night's game with a leadoff home run.
4th time this season the Blue Jays have hit back-to-back home runs, and it was the 4th time in franchise history that they started a ball game with back-to-back home runs. Lays off that high heater. It's 2 balls and a strike. He called it a strike.
Yeah, he called it a swing. That is C.B. Buckner, who was behind the plate last night. That home run from Curtis, his 47th leadoff home run in his career. That places him 5th all-time now.
That's going to drop for a base hit. Granderson off to a good start once again. And that'll bring up the hottest hitter in July in the American League. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has hit .410 in the month of July. Since July 11th, he's even hotter than that.
Yeah, look at the numbers that he has put up since July the 11th over the last 2 weeks. Hotter than Wellich, Winker, and David Freese. An even .500. You just take a look at the exit velocity of some of the balls off of his bat. It's averaging about 95 miles per hour. He's balanced at the plate. He's comfortable, and he has been hitting everything.
Gurriel had a 3-hit game last night. Shows bunt and pulls the bat back. Gurriel has a multi-hit streak of 9 straight games. That ties him with Tony Fernandez for the longest such streak in franchise history.
And when I asked him today, I said, "You know who Tony Fernandez is?" And he did not know. I think he knows now after I told him what a great player he was.
Tony, of course, one of the best players in Blue Jays franchise history. So Gurriel's in great company now. The last major leaguer with a longer such multi-hit game streak was Bernie Williams, who had a 10-game streak in 2002 with the Yankees. Good cut, and fouls it back. What do you like about Gurriel that you have seen at the plate?
Well, he's so balanced at the plate. You don't see him when he swings off balance or fool. He's confident at the plate. He's very quiet at the plate too when you watch him swing. Right now he's handling every pitch. He's handling high breaking balls, fastballs inside, changeups away.
Bunts this one foul. Sanchez, the third baseman, was deep at third, and Gurriel, we have seen him hit line drives from the right field foul line to the left field foul line. And we have seen him try a bunt in the past, but he's always aware of things on the field, that there might be a gap, there might be the third baseman back. He's always aware of his situation. Breaking ball in the dirt. The catcher tonight is Kevin Smith for the White Sox, making his 26th start. Last start it was Omar Narvaez, the catcher. We mentioned last night they have lost their regular catcher, Wellington Castillo, who was suspended for failing a drug test back in May.
So teams have really picked on these catchers running. Really taking advantage of the stolen base with them behind the plate.
2-2, and how about another hit for Goryeo? Granderson will stop at second. This is just the way they started last night. The two leadoff men, Granderson and Goryeo, they didn't homer tonight, but they have both singled.
Well, I just started talking about how he can handle all kind of pitches. This is another pitch that's up and in, and he's able to pull those hands in and get good wood on the ball. Right now, that baseball must look the size of our television screen.
His average with that hit now up to 313. So here's Justin Smoak. He had a base hit in the first inning last night, part of a 2-hit game. Giolito has had his share of problems in the first inning. It just hasn't gone well, and it's not unusual for starters to really struggle trying to get into the flow of the game in the first inning, no matter how much experience you have. There's a changeup that fooled Smoak.
He's given up 19 earned runs in 20 innings this year in the first inning. Opponents have a .470 on base percentage in the first inning. He just hasn't been able to find that release point or get ahead. That's the problem. He hasn't been able to get ahead and finish off the Blue Jays so far.
High fly ball to left field. Nikki Delmonico gives way to the center fielder Garcia, who goes to second as Granderson tags up, moves to third. So a long fly ball to the center fielder. Smoak's retired. Let's take a look at the rest of the defense for the White Sox. They've committed 77 errors this season. Delmonico, Garcia, and Garcia in the outfield, and they've got a pretty good first baseman over there in Jose Abreu.
Yeah, he's the captain over there. He's the leader of the defense for this team. Abreu, his name has been talked about in trade rumors, but there's no way the White Sox, they're going to have to be overwhelmed to trade this guy. We saw it on display last night when his starter Lopez was in trouble. He came to the mound, tried to calm him down just a little bit.
Kendrys Morales goes after that high pitch and fouls it straight back. We mentioned Kendrys has worn out the White Sox. Over the last 16 games he's faced Chicago. He's hit 6 home runs and driven in 19. Got a great opportunity to get the Blue Jays off and running tonight.
He was one of the players that hit a home run in last night's game. Got a change out over the plate and drilled it to right field.
Giolito keeping an eye on Goryeo. Goryeo has just one steal. He's been caught twice. You wouldn't think they'd be running in this situation, despite the fact that the White Sox catchers have not thrown out base runners very well.
The way that Morales has been swinging the bat, he's been pulling a lot of balls, so it's interesting to see where the second baseman is playing. Normally in a double play situation, he's going to be close to the bag, but he is trying to cover up that hole on the right side. So if there's a ground ball to the third baseman, you know who's going to be taking that pivot at second. It's going to be the shortstop. That could be entertaining.
Ground ball, base hit. That's going to get through. Granderson will come in to score. Goryeo stops at second, and Morales with another RBI against the White Sox. That gives him 20 ribbies in his last 17 games against Chicago.
And maybe they should have played straight up, because if he did, that would have been right at the second baseman. Trying to cover up that hole, thinking that he's going to pull Giolito. Pulls the second baseman out of position, and where does he hit it? Right where he should be standing. 1-0 Blue Jays.
Another first inning run surrendered by Giolito. Blue Jays lead it 1-0. Now, Never Solarte, he had a rough night last night. He was 0 for 5 with a strikeout. The Blue Jays were actually out hit by Chicago last night, 11-9. They did not have a hit with a runner in scoring position. They were 0 for 5, but they hit 5 home runs and scored 10. John Gibbons will take something like that again tonight.
Yeah, that was the big thing. The home runs, but they also coaxed 4 walks, and 3 of those walks came around to score.
Goryeo's at second, Morales at first. A run in here in the first inning. Breaking ball bounced in the dirt. Giolito's really trying to be very, very cautious in this first inning. He's not really attacking that strike zone by any means.
That's what happened in yesterday's game. Reynaldo Lopez, the starter for the White Sox, threw 2 fastballs to the first 2 batters of the game, and they both hit home runs. And then he never used his fastball with regularity. It was all breaking ball changeup. Blue Jays have come out swinging again tonight, and now Giolito's pitching very defensively.
Fly ball to shallow right. Garcia comes in. Abreu. Garcia makes the catch. Solarte's retired. It's 2 away now. So Giolito has an opportunity to get out of this with minimal damage. Blue Jays have scored a run on 3 hits so far. Now there are 2 outs for Teoscar Hernandez. Teoscar, he was 0 for 4 in the game last night, but he walked and scored a run in the 5th.
They have dropped him down in the lineup over the last couple of days just to take some of the pressure off of him. Feel like he is pressing just a little bit. That's the best place for him, down in the lineup now as a young hitter. Get his feet back on the ground.
He falls behind with the first pitch strike from Giolito. You know, managers, they will juggle the lineup according to how the batters are hitting. Swing the bat well and you'll be up in the lineup. Go through a tough stretch, you're going to be dropped a bit.
He's been cold lately. They've been throwing him a lot of off-speed pitches. Fastballs up, breaking balls away. So what he has to do is he's got to lay off of that pitch off the plate. Pick out one or the other. Either look for that high fastball or look for that breaking ball away. It's tough to chase the ball around the strike zone.
Pop back out of play on the high fastball. Well, you make a great point about chasing the ball around the strike zone. I think with young hitters, and I think Hernandez is young in his experience, oftentimes you feel like you have to hit every pitch that's near the strike zone. When you gain more experience, you recognize they got to come to you.
That's the key right there. Somehow you have to figure out how to make that pitcher come to you.
Lays off that breaking ball.
And the best way to do that is, at least early in the count, before you get to 2 strikes, say, I'm going to go up there, I'm going to look for this certain pitch, and when he throws it, I'm going to be ready to hit it. If you're guessing with them, or if you're thinking he's going to do this or that, you start chasing that ball around the strike zone. Next thing you know, you're striking out.
Had a good cut at that high fastball and fouled it straight back. Checking with the umpire now to see if it was too high. Home plate umpire is Chris Conroy tonight. This will be the 25th pitch of the inning for Giolito, and it's a ball. John Axford, he's kind of relaxed in there. He's not used to being in the dugout this early in a ball game, making his first major league start.
Visualize. See yourself on the mound.
Relievers this time of the game, they're either down in the bullpen or still in the clubhouse having a cup of coffee.
That's right. Especially late inning relievers like we've seen Axe over the years.
Here's the 3-2 pitch. There go the runners. It's pulled on the ground. Anderson deep and short. Long throw in time as he gets Hernandez. But the Blue Jays are on the board. They score a run on 3 hits. They leave a pair. John Axford will make his first big league start after 537 relief appearances. before his first big league start, and that happens tonight in Chicago against this lineup. The lineup for Rick Renteria's Chicago White Sox features Moncada at the top, Sanchez, and Jose Abreu. He's got a 6-game hit streak. He's 9 for his last 24. With a double and 3 home runs, he's driven in 7 during that stretch. And right behind him, the right fielder, Jaime Garcia, who was an all-star last year. He's always been tough on the Blue Jays. He's hit over 300 against the Jays with 7 extra base hits.
And this is where John Axford was hoping he would be, to be a starting pitcher. Tonight he gets that wish, making his first major league start. He's 4-1 this season in 44 games, all in relief. He becomes the 6th Canadian-born starter in team history. And he made his major league debut just across town back in September of 2009 when he pitched at the Cubs with the Brewers. So here he is making his first big league start.
It's a ball to Moncada, the second baseman. Yohan Moncada hitting .230 for the season with 13 homers and 43 driven in. There's a strike. It's 1-1. First time John Axford has made a start since 2008 when he was a 25-year-old A-baller in the Florida State League. His catcher in that game was Jonathan Lucroy. He had some pretty interesting teammates on that team in the Florida State League. Lorenzo Cain was on the team. Martin Maldonado and former Blue Jay Jeremy Jeffers also on that team for Brevard County.
That was 2008 in the Florida State League. He was in the big leagues then the next year in September with the Brewers.
Foul out of play. 3-2 count to the first batter, Moncada. Yolmer Sanchez is on deck. Moncada in last night's game, 1 for 5. Fly ball to left. Hernandez is there, 1 away. Well, John Axford making his first big league start did something a little different to start this ball game.
Well, he's probably going through his mind, what should I do? Should I go out of the windup? Well, this is the first pitch of the ball game. John's out of the windup and says, you know what, that didn't feel right. Let me go back to going out of the stretch like I have all season long as a reliever. Much better results with that one.
So he is recorded an out as a starter. Here is the third baseman, Sanchez, Yolmer Sanchez. He took an 0 for last night. He was 0 for 5.
That probably felt so foreign to him that maybe I need to pitch out of the windup. I guess he pitched out of the windup down in the bullpen. And now he comes out onto the playing field and says, you know what, that just didn't seem right or feel right.
Well, knowing John Axford, I bet you he just went out there and said, I'm a starter, so I'm going to wind up in the first pitch. 1-1 inside. Axford said he's been talking about this for the last few years, mostly in a joking fashion, but now with some of the teams using openers, if you will, he's been bugging the coaches. Hey, if you need an opener, how about me? And that was the plan.
Yeah, and the plan is 40 pitches or 2 innings, whichever one of those matches up. He's probably right around the 40 pitch limit. They're hoping to get 3 out of that, but realistically it might be more like 2.
His longest outing this season is 2 1/3. Pete Walker, of course, going to keep a close eye on him. The plan is to have Jaime Garcia follow Axford into this game. 2-2 pitch to Sanchez. Another foul into the seats. We mentioned Axford is the 6th Canadian-born starter to make a start for the Blue Jays. The first was Denny Boucher back in 1991. He made 7 starts in '91. Then he was traded to Cleveland. But you were in one of Boucher's starts.
Yeah, I was in that game that you were talking about.
It's a good curveball for a strikeout. We mentioned the 6 Canadians that have made starts for the Blue Jays. Denny Boucher in '91. Paul Spaljerek from Kelowna made 3 starts, 1 in '94, 2 in 1999. Paul Quantrill made 20 starts in '96. Scott Richmond made 29 starts in 2 different stints, and Sean Hill is the last Canadian to start before Axford makes his start tonight. Hill made his start on September 30th, 2010 in Minnesota, and this is the first start for a Canadian pitcher since that start. There have been some interesting starts over the history of those Canadian pitchers. Poljarek, his last 2 starts in '99 were both against Bartolo Colon. Colon won number 17 and number 18.
So that didn't go so well.
That didn't go so well. Denny Boucher's start on April 17th in Detroit. Boucher pitched great. 4 hits over 7 innings. He allowed just 1 run. He left with the lead, and then Dwayne Ward came in and blew the save. Ground ball. Nice play by Drury at third. Abreu's retired. Axford has an inning in the book. John Axford. He's now an official big league starter.
Presented by the 2018 Honda Civic Type R, like no Honda you've ever seen.
John Axford, 15 pitches in the first inning as a starter. Pete Walker says, hey, keep it right there, man. We might get 3 out of you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's got to be a great feeling to start the game, get the 1, 2, 3 inning, come back and sit down. Gibby was talking about it before the game. He said, we're going to have some fun with this. And from that reaction right there from John Axford, it looks like he's having some fun.
This all became a situation because of the J. Happ trade. Happ was supposed to start for the Blue Jays tonight against the White Sox. Of course, he was traded, and he is scheduled to start tomorrow for the Yankees. The Yankees playing a doubleheader, and to many people's surprise, Kansas City whipped them up pretty good. KC won 10-5. They beat Luis Severino, knocked him out after 4 1/3.
His shortest outing of the season.
Russell Martin, the catcher. 2 balls and a strike on the Blue Jays backstop. He's hitting 176 for the season. Russell had an RBI double in last night's game. Good sinking fastball there. Giolito, he doesn't have that blazing fastball. He was a former #1 pick of the Washington Nationals. He was acquired in a trade a couple years ago that sent Adam Eaton to Washington. Giolito and Reynaldo Lopez both came here in return. Well, that looked like a pretty good pitch.
He's got some good movement on that fastball. I think that's his best pitch, that good hard sinking fastball. He'll use that. He's got to get his slider and his curveball over for strikes. He's been very inconsistent with them this season.
Full count to Russell Martin. Blue Jays scored a run on 3 hits in the first inning off Giolito. Boy, another pretty good looking pitch, and the call goes in Martin's favor. First walk of the game issued by Giolito.
Well, let's take a look at the scouting report for the young right-hander. Fastball, he'll throw it 61% of the time, and it's around 92, 93 miles an hour. He'll use that exclusively. Then the slider, the changeup, and the curveball, and the off-speed pitches have been a problem for him this year. There are the variations of the amount that he throws and the miles per hour. His walk percentage this season has gone up from last year. 50% from last year it has gone up. So the Blue Jays are taking note of that, and they are really working him over. 26 pitches in that first inning. And now a leadoff walk here in the second.
Randall Grichuk hit a home run to dead center last night in his first at bat. He takes a high strike. Strike zone appears to be a little higher than low so far tonight from Chris Conroy. Also, Martin had a couple of low pitches that were called balls. Inside. Grichuk, the home run he hit last night, his 14th of the season. He's driven in 34 runs. They got off to a terrible start. He had a couple of injuries in the spring, didn't have an awful lot of regular at bats. Took him a while to get his feet on the ground. Then he hurt his knee, went on DL.
I think the loss of time in spring training is the biggest factor why he got off to such a rough start in April. Just did not have the at-bats. He got hurt once, came back, and then got hurt again. They missed some time towards the end of spring training. Then you're in a hurry-up mode. You're trying to chase hits and get that timing down when you don't have that full spring.
Fly ball, not that deep. Garcia is set to catch it. Martin goes back to tag at first, and he will hold there. So one out. Brandon Drury will come to the plate. He had a pinch hit at bat in last night's game and struck out. He struck out in the 8th inning, batting for Curtis Granderson as a pinch hitter. For the season, Drury is 9 for 52. That came as a Yankee, and he has one game under his belt with the Blue Jays. This is his first start since joining the Jays.
There's some pop and there's some talent in that swing, and I think it's up to the Blue Jays and Brandon Drury right now to bring it out. And the only way you're going to do that is to play, and they have told him you're going to play. Not real sure exactly where you're going to play, what position. He can play multiple positions. But you're going to play because we got to see if you can produce.
Drury is 25 years old, and that is one thing on the agenda of the front office of the Blue Jays. They want to get younger. They want to become more athletic. For the last 3 seasons, the Blue Jays have been the oldest team in baseball. And baseball is trending much younger and certainly much more athletic. 0-1 to Drury. Ground ball off the glove of the third baseman. That'll be a base hit. Martin will stop at second base, and Brandon Drury has his first hit as a Blue Jay.
He's got it in him. When he was in the minor leagues one year, he led that league in doubles with 51. He's got great power the other way. This time he's going to turn on that pitch from Giolito and hit it on one bounce off of the glove of the third baseman. He's got power. And you mentioned it, he's young and he's athletic.
So that'll turn the lineup over back to the leadoff spot. Runners at first and second for Curtis Granderson. Curtis singled and scored his first time up. The White Sox, 3 defenders on the right side of the infield. They're double played them.
When he was up last time, I was mentioning that he has hit 47 leadoff home runs now, 5th all time. Of course, the all-time leader is none other than Rickey Henderson. Rickey had 82 leadoff home runs, leading off ball games in his career. Curtis at 47 now.
As Rickey would say, Rickey likes to lead off.
And he did a heck of a job
Speaking of Rickey Henderson, of course, this is the Hall of Fame weekend. And we want to certainly congratulate all those inductees into the Hall of Fame, including Vladimir Guerrero Sr. And he will be joined by Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at Cooperstown,
who is on his way from there
to Buffalo. That's right. So it'll be quite a special weekend. Not only do they get the news that Junior is going to be promoted to AAA, but he will stop on the way at Cooperstown and spend the weekend with his dad. What a great weekend for the family. A ball and 2 strikes to Curtis Granderson. He takes it low, now it's 2-2. Ground ball past Abreu into right field. Russell Martin's going to be stopped at third as Garcia has a terrific arm in right. So Granderson is 2 for 2, and the Blue Jays have the bases loaded with just 1 out.
Grandy's saying, I don't care how many infielders you put on the right side, I'm going to find a hole. Put another one out there and I'll still get it by the first baseman. Abreu does everything he can to try and knock this ball down and keep it on the infield. Garcia comes up charging. And because Abreu dove for that ball, there's no cutoff man in the middle of the diamond. The first baseman is usually a cutoff man. Also puts on the brakes as he gets a late stop sign from Luis Rivera.
Lourdes Goryeo Jr. with the bases loaded. He had a single to center field his first time up. Kevin Smith, the catcher, is going to go out to the mound and have a chat with Giolito, and the entire infield will converge on the mound. Again, this is a rebuilding situation here with the White Sox. They've got young players all over the diamond. Abreu is the senior member of this team. He is the leader on the infield because Giolito is just 24 years old.
In his first full year in the big league, he's had time in the last couple of years with Washington, with Chicago, up and down just a little bit, but he hasn't had a full year, so he's learning on the job. We are seeing that more and more when young pitchers, if they throw hard, they're going to get to the big leagues and they're going to finish off their development here.
One and 0. There's another base hit. That's going to drop. Martin's in to score. They're going to send the runner. Here comes Drury to the plate. The throw is not in time. Lourdes Goryeo in 2 at-bats has just set a new Blue Jays record for the most consecutive multi-hit games with 10. He's 2 for 2 already.
Wow. That's all I can say. When you watch a young player like this doing what he's doing and making it look so easy while he's doing it, they try to come in again, fights it off, and rips it into left field. Watch that swing. Look at the balance and control that he has with his upper body when he is swinging the bat. That scores Russell, and then Rivera sends Drury right behind him for 2 more runs.
We mentioned 10 straight games with multi-hits. That's an all-time record for the Blue Jays. He broke the tie with Tony Fernandez, who did it in 1986, and the last big league hitter to have a 10-game streak with multi-hits, Bernie Williams with 10 back in 2002 with the New York Yankees.
Hitting in 10 straight is hard. Just getting one. He's getting at least 2 hits in 10 straight games. Very impressive.
Justin Smoak goes after the first pitch. It's 3-0 Blue Jays. They jumped out to an early lead last night. They scored 5 in their first 2 innings before the White Sox even got on the board. The White Sox scored a single run in the bottom of the 3rd.
Took the crowd right out of the game last night, and they've done it again here tonight. It's a big crowd, and right now they're just sitting on their hands. Blue Jays putting up some numbers early.
Smoak lays off that pitch. It's 2 balls and a strike to the first baseman. Goryeo, during his 10-game streak, is 22 for 42. That's a cool .523. Big swing from Smoak. It's a franchise record, so the authenticator that sits in both dugouts is putting a sticker on that baseball to authenticate the fact that that's the baseball that set the franchise record for most consecutive multi-hit games at 10. That's pretty cool. 2-2 to Smoak. Called strike 3. Caught looking at that fastball. First strikeout of the ball game for Giolito.
Giolito has a pretty good fastball, and he's got a lot of run on it. Some arm side run. Watch this ball freeze Smoak and come back over the plate. That's his first strikeout of the night, and it comes at a good time. A couple more runners on base, and the heart of the order coming up for the Blue Jays.
2 down now for Kendrys Morales. He had an RBI single in the first inning. Granderson at second, Goryeo at first. Giolito steps off the river. Pickoff on at second, but Granderson's back easily. Giolito has thrown 52 pitches in an inning and 2/3. Off the pitcher. Moncada from right field has time to throw out Morales. Moncada did a nice job to stay with that. Ludis Goryeo is 2 for 2 already. This is his second hit of the ballgame. It drives in 2 and sets a new franchise record for most consecutive multi-hit games.
Major league game, and it was last night that he was asked if he plans on changing his routine at all. He said absolutely not. He doesn't even know what a starter's routine looks like. But with that being said, earlier today he did walk by a few members of the media, and with a little smirk on his face he looked at them and said, "You can't talk to me, I'm starting tonight." So he's obviously having a little bit of fun with it. And last night he was also asked how many innings does he think he can go. He said if he can keep his pitch count down, he expects he could maybe get 9 innings in. I think the Blue Jays would be happy with 3. Now, the last time he started a game was 10 years ago, back in 2008 in the minors, and that was when his major league dreams weren't really much of a reality. In fact, after that season ended in the offseason, he took a job as a bartender at Eastside Mario's. The year before that, he actually sold cell phones for TELUS. Buck Pat, I think his days working a part-time job are well past them.
They sure are, Sean, but that gives you an idea what minor leaguers deal with. He was 25 years old playing in the Florida State League, and you played in that league. I think you got your letter in that league, didn't you?
I'm grabbing my pension from that league. I spent so much time there. It's normally 19, 20, 21-year-old kids now. John was 25 at the time that he was there.
John, of course, signed out of college, but He had not progressed as aggressively as he would have liked. This is Jaime Garcia, the right fielder. Garcia has hit .314 against the Blue Jays in his career. Last year he was an all-star. He hit .330 for the White Sox.
He has battled injuries in his career. Last year was finally healthy. It seemed like the whole year and had a great year. He was hurt again this year. Missed a lot of time.
Comes into this ball game. His at-bats are down. He's only had 166 at-bats to this point. For comparison's sake, Jose Abreu has had 393.
He's on the disabled list second time this year. He had some hamstring problems.
3-1 now to Garcia. John Axford threw 15 pitches in the first inning, retired to side in order with a strikeout. Well, he gets sawed off. Going to be a tough play for Goryeo. He's got time and makes it. Axford really got deep in the kitchen of Garcia, broke his bat and hit a little dribbler to short.
It was Garcia, obviously Garcia last night, who hit the same type of ball. And Goryeo was playing a little bit too deep. Looks like he made the adjustment on that one, shortened up. There he is getting sawed off. Same type of pitch, and now he's on the dirt. That allows him to come in very quickly and make that throw and get the first down. Boy, the more you watch him, he gets better, like we were saying in the opening, game by game.
Now, he defected from Cuba. He did not play any baseball at all for about a year. And he had a lot of rust to knock off. He signed in 2016. He signed a 7-year major league contract. And you can see why the Blue Jays were so interested in Goryeo.
And last year, he got hurt early on, didn't he? Right at the end of spring training or right at the beginning of his season.
Hurt a hamstring in spring training. This is Nikki Delmonico, the left fielder. He's moved into the 5th spot tonight. Delmonico hit in the 8th spot in the lineup last night and had a pair of triples. He tripled in the 7th and had an RBI triple in the 9th.
Defense is shifting all around now with Delmonico and 2 strikes on him. That is Drury out in the outfield. Statcast AI is powered by AWS. Solarte at second base. He was actually out in the outfield before they got the 2 strikes, and then Drury, they switched with him. He came all the way over from third base. They'll look at those stat numbers and decide who they want in what positions. Drury has played some second base, so this isn't foreign to him, being on this side of the infield.
He's actually made his most starts in the majors at second base. He started 125 games playing second. This year, Drury has made 8 starts at third, 4 at second, and actually 2 at first base for the Yankees.
He can also play the outfield. He has done that. I'm wondering if that's why they have him out there in short right field.
He goes around. The ball is in the dirt. Martin will go to first. Delmonico is retired on the strikeout. We know John Axford has pitched exclusively as a reliever, but he's got a nice assortment of pitches.
Yeah, he's using the curveball a little bit more and his little cutter slash slider just a little bit more. But basically, 77% of the time as a reliever, he is pounding that 2-seam fastball in there. It's been touching 96, 97 miles an hour this year, and they haven't done a whole lot with that fastball. Just a 239 average against his fastball this season, with lots of ground balls.
There's another ground ball, weakly hit toward third. Drury barehands it, throws out. He gets Matt Davis. A nice play by Brandon Drury. He's had a couple of good plays in the field so far tonight. John Axford, 2 innings in the books. Brandon Drury getting his first start at third base. Makes a good play at third, barehanding it to throw out Davidson and end the inning.
Blue Jays members, log into My Blue Jays and enter the code MBJ3182 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage, and the code must be entered by 4 a.m. Guys.
Thank you very much, Sean. Make sure you log in, and you can see the Blue Jay fans. They're in abundance here in Chicago tonight. Blue Jays have a 3-0 lead. Whenever Solarte takes the ball down and away for ball one. Bounce up the first baseline for a foul ball. It's now 1-1. Solarte's having a little bit of a rough stretch at the plate lately. He was 0 for 5 last night.
Tonight he finds himself at a new position. He's been playing mostly third base for the Blue Jays. Tonight he's going to shift over to second.
It's going to be interesting to see how John Gibbons juggles all these infielders. Solarte making his 23rd start at second. And Devin Travis was there last night. But you know, we talked about this in the game last night. I never heard a manager complain about having too many good ball players.
So you can ride the guy who's hot. Get that hot bat, stick it in there. You can find the matchups that you think will work for your team. Lefty righty situation, whatever it calls for, fastball type of pitcher. Any of those matchups as a manager, you've got options and you've got chances to put a pretty good lineup out there.
Yeah, and the one thing you have to really guard against, of course, is to avoid having anybody sit for an extended period of time. And he's got versatile players. Goryeo can play second and short. Ledmus Diaz, he has played a little bit of third base, but he's primarily a shortstop. The one guy that's really limited is Devin Travis, who is basically a second baseman. We mentioned Drury has played second, first, third, and both corner outfielders. So he has actually made 65 starts in left field.
You know what that does is it brings a lot of competition to those infielders. Hey, I better get a couple of hits here. Better concentrate. Better run out these ground balls because I want to play tomorrow.
Competition is a great thing. When you know there are guys nipping at your heels for playing time, that'll give you a little extra incentive.
Keep you on your toes. Make you give it your best effort.
Foul out of play. I misspoke a bit with Drury. He has made 62 starts in left field, 32 starts in right field, all those games coming in Arizona.
So they have options. What they want to do. Let's see how they play it the rest of the way.
3-2 pitch to Solarte. Bounced foul again, wide of first. The one thing the Blue Jays are going to have to do, and I'm sure they are looking at this, they're going to have to improve their defense. Their defense has not been very good. It hasn't been very consistent, and I think John Gibbons is well aware of that.
He's talked about that in the media scrums. He's talked about we've got to clean up our game, throw to the right bases, make the right calls defensively, make the right throws, make the right plays, get an out when the opposition gives you one.
You know this very well, and you and I have been in the game for a long time. It's very difficult to keep your focus when a team's not winning a lot of games, and that's a real challenge. Hit right to Anderson, who was shifted up the middle. Solarte will be thrown out.
The diverse Civic family, our most powerful lineup yet. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
We are in the south side of Chicago. That is Guaranteed Rate Park. Game 2 of this 3-game series, the final time these two teams will play this season.
I hear what you're saying, okay, about it's tough to keep, playing all that when you're losing. But you're a professional. You're being paid to play the game the right way and to get out there and do it and play to the best of your ability. So I don't care if you're not winning or not. You still have to go out there and perform.
Well, you find out an awful lot about your players when the team is going poorly. They're not winning games. And we saw it on display last night with the way the White Sox got after it, despite the fact they were trailing big early in the ball game. Player after player hustled on ground balls up the first baseline.
The one thing that you can control, I don't care if you're winning or losing, you're hitting 400 or 200, is your effort. And that's, as a professional, your effort should always be there. Buddy Bell talked about that. Hey, if you can't run 90 feet 4 times a night, you shouldn't be playing Major League Baseball.
Bouncing ball toward third. Yolmer Sanchez has it. Boy, he almost took too much time. That was bang bang at first base. I think Blue Jays are going to have a look at this one.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that they take a look at this one. Teoscar busted it up the line there on that slow roller to the third baseman. And Sanchez had a long way to come to get it, glove it, set his feet. And they've decided not to, but good on Teoscar hustling. There's the couple crow hops and it fires across the field just ahead of Hernandez.
You know, you start doing that and the other teams recognize that you can put pressure on the defense. They're going to hurry their throws. They're going to make bad throws. They're going to bounce balls in the dirt. It's just a good way to play.
You know who else you put pressure on? Your own teammates to follow suit.
Russell Martin, he walked again. Martin with 44 base on balls this season. He came around to score the second Blue Jay run. He takes a high strike. 1-1. Checked his swing. The appeal down to first. He is called for the swing. Brown Honora is at first base tonight. Russell's not so sure he went around.
Didn't look like it. Looked like he checked his swing. He's really good at that. Recognizing pitches.
We had an interesting conversation with Jason Benetti, who does the play-by-play for the Chicago TV show. And we were talking about a rule for the check swing. There's no defined rule that says this is a check swing and this isn't. It's very arbitrary. So we threw it out there for discussion. We were having a chat before the game. And how about if they use the foul lines as an indicator? If that bat is parallel to the opposite foul line, that's a swing. If it doesn't cut that plane, it's not a swing.
I like it. I'd have to go out there and take a look and see what the angle looks like. But you're right. There's all kind of different forms of, yes, he did swing. He did check his swing. Last night it cost them their manager and their pitching coach in the first inning.
In the first inning, Don Cooper, the pitching coach, and the manager, Rick Renteria, are both ejected on a controversial check swing with a Morales at bat in the first. Cooper trying to protect his pitcher. It would have been a strike him out, throw him out situation had it been called a swing. You remember as kids, we used to talk about check swing. Well, he broke his wrist.
Broke
remember?
the wrist. Yeah.
He broke his wrist. That's a swing.
No, I didn't.
You went in front of the plate. You know, the bat crossed the front of the plate. That's a swing.
They also hear well, he made an effort to go after that ball. There is no definitive way to call it.
I'm surprised he didn't call that one after calling the first one, but he said no swing on that ball in the dirt. Now full count to Russell Martin. But baseball is such an interesting game. We see different things every night. Last night we saw a play you rarely see, with the ball trapped by the home plate umpire when Russell was trying to score.
Jason said he spent all night trying to find that rule, still couldn't find it.
There's a deep drive to left. Get out of here, ball. This ball is way back and gone. Russell Martin with his 8th home run of the season, and the Blue Jays are back on the home run path.
That's a typical Russell Martin type of at bat. He fell behind, but he worked the count, saw multiple pitches, got that count to 3-2, and with 2 outs and nobody on, you had to figure that Giolito was going to challenge him with a fastball, and he did, and Russell was waiting for it.
Well, he smoked it all the way over the White Sox bullpen into the seats in left. 4-0 Blue Jays. They've scored in each of the first 3 innings.
3-2. He's got good movement on that fastball, but this one doesn't move much. Stays right where Russell likes it, and he knows that feel of that ball leaving the bat.
That's his 8th home run of the season and home run number 183 of his career. Well, he's had some career, playing in his 13th season in the big leagues. Pitching swings and misses. It's 1-2 now. Cut on and miss. Grichuk strikes out to end the inning. 2 strikeouts for Giolito. But Russell Martin, a 3-2 fastball. He hammers it over the bullpen in left to give the Blue Jays a 4-0 lead.
Season, the circuit heads to America's heartland, and the big question is, can anyone catch points leader Scott Dixon? Find out the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio tomorrow on Sportsnet 1 and 360. Guys.
Well, that's Sean. Blue Jays have put up some crooked numbers in this series so far. They scored 10 runs last night. They've already put a 4 spot up on the board here tonight. This is Kevin Smith, the catcher. He's hitting .298 for the season. He hasn't hit a home run this season.
They're getting some production from their catchers since Wellington Castillo was suspended.
Takes a good cut at that high fastball.
Smith and Narvaez have hit .335 combined. 3 home runs, 26 RBIs in their last 52 games.
Smith, kind of a journeyman. He was drafted back in 2011 in the 7th round by the White Sox. He's now 30 years old. Breaking ball missed down and away. Spent parts of the last 3 seasons in Chicago. Got up in 16. Appeared in 7 games. Last year he was in 87 games, and this is his 26th game of the season tonight. Axford bounces that ball in the dirt. He's now thrown 31 pitches as he works here in the 3rd inning.
Have a quick inning, maybe one time through the lineup here, and he would have done his job.
And you know he's going to lobby to get 5 in the book. 5 in the book so he can pick up a win.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Little chopper, Axford off the mound, fields and bobbles, and that cost him. Oh no! Looked like Smith beat it out. Well, the bobble momentarily looked like it was going to allow Smith to beat it out, but Axford stayed with it. White Sox are going to look at their video and see if they want to ask for the review.
Yeah, Rick Renteria right now is turning to his bench coach to see if they want to take a look at it. There's the bobble, and it looks like he's safe.
Yeah, that's what I thought, as Axford really couldn't come out of his glove cleanly, and looks like he's on the base before.
Yeah.
And they're going to look at it, sure.
He's on
so
the base
if that
there.
is a hit, that'll break up the no-hitter. Axford had retired the first 6 in this game, and then his bobble may have led to an infield hit.
That one angle that we showed right there, I think this should be an easy call for the umpires. Showed that his foot was on the base and the ball still in the air. So this shouldn't take long at all.
Yeah, there's the foot down on the base, and the ball's still not in Smoak's glove. So they make the right call. Smith is given credit for an infield hit. You know, it's really interesting how the video review plays have shaken out this season. The most reviewed play is the tag play. Going halfway through the season, 352 plays have been reviewed because of a tag play. And the second most reviews are the force play. Those 2 plays, the tag play and the force play, account for 76% of the reviews.
76%.
There are 2 plays, whether or not there's a tag, and we see infielders make the tag and hold the tag. And then the play where the foot comes off the base and the base runner is called out.
So basically what you're saying, the bang bang plays at the bases.
That's the most often video review.
So as an offensive player, maximum effort could make the difference between an out and a safe sign.
Absolutely. And I think teams are going to start to focus on that. How can we improve our numbers on the review plays? You do that by stepping on the first part of a base. When you're running down the first baseline, don't step in the middle of the bag, hit the front part of the bag. Improve your sliding techniques, slide in quicker to the base.
Get faster players.
Get faster players.
that helps.
Jaime Garcia, he strikes out, 1 out. Let's check in with Hazel May. Thank you very much, Hazel. Porcello for the Red Sox, as Hazel mentioned, against Jake Odorizzi for the Twins. And certainly Brian Dozier has been the subject of a lot of conversation about whether or not he's going to be traded. He is strictly a second baseman. Looks like Jake Petrichka is going to warm up.
2 teams that were in the market for a second baseman made some trades.
Drury, nice play at third, second for 1. What a nice double play. Brandon Drury having a good night at third base. He's made 3 impressive defensive plays. The double play gets Axford out of the third.
A bit of a tough start for the White Sox, but it was just a few days ago that Giolito got the chance to pitch in front of friends and family in LA against the Angels, and his family is full of some very familiar Hollywood names. His mom, Lindsay Frost, played the role of Betsy Stewart Andropoulos on the daytime soap opera As the World Turns, a role which was previously played by actress Meg Ryan. Now, his father was the co-creator of Twin Peaks, in which his grandfather, Warren Frost, played the role of Doc Hayward. But where most of you may know him is, yes, he was George Costanza's father-in-law in Seinfeld. Giolito once admitted in an interview he hasn't seen a lot of Seinfeld, but whenever anyone finds out that his grandpa was on the show, he said they cannot help but quote the show over and over and over again. And Buck and Pat, I cannot blame them, because I think at one point or another we've all quoted Seinfeld.
I hear it every single night from Scott Carson and Pat Tabler on the ride back from the ballpark. Every night. But it's really interesting. He comes from a very interesting background. And even when he was first traded here to Chicago, his pitching coach, Don Cooper, said, "Is it true your grandfather was on Seinfeld?" That's one of the first things he asked.
Yes, he was.
Giolito went to a high school in the Valley in California, Harvard Westlake, and it's a studio city, North Hollywood, right in that area. And of course, there's a lot of actors and movie stars out in that area. And his family was full of talented people, and he's pretty talented himself, major league pitcher.
So how did he get into baseball?
Well, his brother's an actor too, and he said, "I just never had any notion." He said, "I was in a play as a grammar school kid and didn't have many lines and really didn't like it very much, so he said, I thought I'd stick to sports." Brandon Drury, well, he's had a nice night in the field. Made 3 real good defensive plays, including starting that last inning-ending double play. He had a base hit off the glove of the third baseman, came around to score in the second. Foul tips it. That's held on by the catcher for a strikeout. Well, John Axford, he has made the start. It looks like his night has come to an end. He's acknowledging his catcher for a fine performance. Axford threw 38 pitches through 3 innings, and Jake Petrichka is warming up. They were told that it might be Jaime Garcia the second to follow him, but there's been a shift in direction.
Yeah, Jaime can give you multiple innings. Petrichka, 1 inning, maybe 2.
The high pop up down the left field line. This is in foul ground. Sanchez is there. The third baseman makes the catch. Curtis Granderson his read time.
A lot of it had to do also where they were in the lineup, where they were coming around when John was finished, and it looks like John's finished. Well, he did such a great job. He only faced 9 batters. So the top of the lineup, the best hitters that the White Sox have to offer are coming up. So the Blue Jays have made the shift, and they're going to go to Petrichka with a little bit more power with his fastball.
Here is the red hot Lourdes Gurriel Jr. He's 2 for 2. Had a 2-run single his last time up. Ball on a strike now. Giolito has 3 strikeouts. He's given up 4 runs on 7 hits.
Remember, he was trying to bunt his first time up. Twice he tried to bunt.
Breaking ball hit on the ground. Right to the shortstop, Anderson. Goryeo is retired for the first time tonight. The Blue Jays go quietly in their half of the 4th. big league start here tonight, and he was impressive over 3 innings, allowing just 1 hit, no runs, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 3 through 38 pitches. So that went as well as possible for John Axford, and you could see he had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, the 1 hit was just that swinging bunt by Kevin Smith that he bobbled momentarily, an infield hit that was wiped out on the double play, the 5-4-3 double play. What an outing for Axford. 3 very good innings. He only faced the minimum 9 batters. He'll turn it over to Jake Petrichka. Petrichka's numbers have been much better lately also. He rediscovered a good fastball by loading up just a little bit more. He has thrown the ball extremely well lately. He's a former Chicago White Sox pitcher. And I asked him this week, I said, any feelings about going back to Chicago? He says, no, I just want to beat them. I want to pitch well against them. I'm not one of those guys who I need to show them that they made a mistake. They just had to do what they had to do, and I had to do what I had to do.
Petrichka pitched 5 seasons with the White Sox. He appeared in 181 games over those 5 seasons. He actually had 16 saves pitching out of the White Sox bullpen. He had a little minor elbow surgery in the off season. He had a nerve moved a little bit, and it took him a while to get up to speed. He did not break camp with the Blue Jays and was not in camp at all with the Blue Jays. He did most of his work in the minor league camp this spring, but he has pitched himself into shape and thrown the ball well.
Yeah, when we saw him the first time, his first game for the Blue Jays was May the 4th at Tampa Bay. He hadn't built up that arm strength. There's a good pitch that he throws right by Moncada.
So Petrichka strikes out the first batter he's faced, and you can see he gets that lower half behind it, and the velocity is ticked up significantly.
Yeah, I asked him, I said, did you do anything differently when you went back down to the minor leagues? He's been up and down a couple of times with the Blue Jays. He said, you know, I just found like when I turn my lower half just a little bit more, it's called loading up your bottom half, I feel like I can get a lot more on the pitch. And he has added 3, 4, 5 miles per hour on his fastball. He's had some hip problems, and you mentioned the elbow problems, but he looks healthy now.
Nomar Sanchez fouls it off Russell Martin's catcher's mitt. Sanchez was a strikeout victim against Axford in the first. He struck out on a good curveball from Axford. There's a fly ball deep to right. Granderson's back at the wall. This one's going to go. Nomar Sanchez hits his 6th home run of the season, and the White Sox are on the board. They can hit some homers.
They have had 3 games with multiple players with multiple home runs in franchise history. And that was an 0-2 fastball that he was going to try and slip by him, but it moved too much back over the plate. Thought he might throw a breaking ball. You had just mentioned that Sanchez had struck out against Axford on a breaking ball. 0-2, I thought he'd throw him a breaking ball, try to slip a fastball by him, and the Sox are on the board.
Jose Abreu takes the first pitch strike. Abreu grounded out to third his first time up. Nice play by Brandon Drury, who's had a good night in the field so far. Drury making his first start at third base. There's a base hit to right. That's a patented Jose Abreu hit.
Boy, is it ever, taking that ball the other way. Let's take a look at that home run again. Russell sets up on the inside part of the plate. The fastball stays right there. No movement. And Sanchez takes it about 380 feet to right field.
Jaime Garcia got jammed and hit a slow roll to short his last time up. He takes one inside. This is the first time, of course, that Petrichka has ever pitched against the White Sox, having pitched for them for 5 years, and this is his first year with the Blue Jays. And the breaking ball gets away from Martin, and Abreu thought about it, but wisely decided to stay put.
Well, a lot of movement on that fastball from Petrichka. It really ate up both the batter and the catcher. Look at that thing move.
I don't know if Martin got crossed up or what, but he expected it to be away, and then the ball moved so much. I think you're right. I think it was just excessive movement. Kind of handcuffed Russell. There's another base hit to right. Garcia has his first hit of the night. Home run, single, single after 1 out.
Save big at the outdoor living event at Home Hardware, on from July 25th to August 7th. Here's how.
Beautiful evening in Chicago. Russell Martin with a quick visit to the mound. Petrichka came into the game and got Moncada looking on strike 3. And then Sanchez hit an 0-2 pitch out of the ballpark for a home run, and Abreu and Garcia have followed with singles.
Yeah, and after he had gotten ahead of those guys, both of them, and just couldn't finish him off. Now the crowd trying to get back into it.
Nikki Delmonico, the left fielder. Ground ball. This should be 2. Goryeo steps on the bag, back to first. It's a double play. Russell Martin had a good message for Jake Petrichka. Throw a double play ball. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Hazel May and Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Blue Jays app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Blue Jays home screen icons and features such as the MLB TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats news, and much, much more. Download MLB at Bat today, guys.
Thank you very much, Sean, as we are here in Chicago, Guaranteed Rate Field. Justin Smoak will lead things off for the Blue Jays. He goes opposite field. This is going to get down for a hit. This is going to go all the way to the wall. Delmonico plays it off the wall. Smoak is headed for second. He'll get there with a leadoff stand-up double.
It's been a good month for Justin Smoak. That's his 25th hit this month. In July, he's hitting over 300. Last year, when he had that career year, he had a season-high 31 hits in the month of July. It's also his 28th double. Good start for the Jays here in the 5th. Go right with that pitch. This is what I never understood. If you're going to shift everybody on the right side of the infield, why are you pitching them away? Pitches them away. Smoak takes it the other way for extra bases.
Kenrys Morales, he goes after the first pitch, hits it on the ground. Smoak is headed for third. Anderson has it. Morales is retired, 1 away. The White Sox playing in the shift. Smoak moves to third with 1 out. It's a 4-1 ball game, and Solarte will bat. There's Tyler Danish, who pitched an inning in last night's game and threw the ball very well. Danish had a couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 inning. That was in the 7th. The infield is halfway on the right side. 3 defenders on the right side of the infield are halfway. The only defender on the left side is the third baseman. He's on the edge of the grass.
That's a reflection of the speed over at third base. They don't have to play all the way in with Justin Smoak running. You play it halfway if you want to. Solarte's got to get this ball into the outfield somehow.
There's a base hit into the outfield. Smoak will come in to score. Solarte gets his first hit of the series and picks up an RBI. Blue Jays get that run right back for Solarte. That's his 53rd RBI of the season, and the Blue Jays get that run back. It's now 5-1.
Yeah, cut his swing down beautifully after he fell behind 2 strikes. Don't want to go out there and start trying to hit the ball 9 miles with 2 strikes. Cut it down, get the ball into the outfield anyway, and pick up that RBI, his 53rd now of the season.
Well, the Blue Jays have 5 runs on 9 hits against the starter Lucas Giolito, and that's going to be the end of his night. Goryeo will take the baseball from him, hand it over to Tyler Danish. We've got a pitching change here in Chicago. 5-1 Blue Jays. Thank you very much. Hey, so as we have a pitching change, Tyler Danish. First pitch swinging, that's Teoscar Hernandez, and Solarte went halfway towards second, and he had to scramble back. Danish pitched a very good inning last night, and he had a couple of strikeouts in that inning of work. Those are his numbers from AAA. Charlotte, he appeared in 29 games. He's got an interesting background, and he was very grateful for the opportunity to get in that game last night.
Very thankful that he is back here hours after he pitched in last season's AAA Charlotte season finale. He was involved in a car wreck with a semi-trailer, and he fractured his shoulder, dislocating his left shoulder in the accident, and it could have been much worse. So he's very thankful that he has fought his way back to the major leagues. He was dropped from the 40-man roster months after that car accident. And he says the car wreck helped with understanding that life can change in a heartbeat. And that accident really showed me that every day is a new day, and you take it to the fullest. Take it on to be the best that you can be every day. Boy, what a great feeling that has to be for him. To be able to be back in the big leagues, I feel great to be back here. And he spent some time in the big leagues before that accident.
Puts everything into proper perspective for sure. Russell Martin homered his last time up. He has walked and homered so far in 2 plate appearances. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Solarte with an RBI single. He's at first. Chopper off home plate, and that's going to be a base hit. Tyler Danish made a grab for it, went off the end of his glove. He touched it in fair territory, so it'll be an infield hit for Russell Martin.
He's had a perfect night tonight. He walked and scored in the 2nd inning, hit that home run with 2 outs in the 3rd, and now has an infield hit. Maybe things are starting to turn around right off the top of home plate, so way up in the air. The only chance to make that play was the pitcher Danish, and it just falls off of his glove.
Yeah, Sanchez was too deep at third. The third baseman didn't have a shot at making the play, and it's going to be a base hit all the way. So Martin's 2 for 2 with a walk. He scored a pair of runs and homered. Brando Grichuk now with runners at first and second. Grichuk faced Danish in last night's game and struck out swinging. Into the 7th inning.
We call those frisbee sliders. They just kind of spin and just like a frisbee take off towards home plate. That's what he has from that low 3/4 action.
Well, he gets hit by that pitch. Fastball got away from Danish, and that'll load the bases. The Blue Jays had a couple of players hit last night. Grichuk got hit by Pierre, the hard-throwing reliever. This one hits him on the left leg. And then right after Grichuk got hit, Devin Travis got hit. That was in the 5th inning.
Oh boy, I am so glad that that ball was that high up on the knee area. If it was about 2 or 3 inches lower, that would have hit him right in the kneecap. But from that replay, it looked like it was just above the knee.
Brandon Drury, with the bases loaded, takes a first pitch strike. I 0-1 to Drury. Brandon making his first start for the Blue Jays. He struck out in a pinch hitting role last night. Pick off at second, and they've got Russ Martin in a rundown. Now Solarte is between home and third. Sanchez to the pitcher, and the pitcher Danish will tag out Solarte. Russell Martin got picked off at second and forced Solarte into a rundown. So the Blue Jays waste a bases loaded opportunity as the White Sox pull off the pickoff very successfully.
Comiskey Park shower, a piece of history that was the brainchild of eccentric White Sox former owner Bill Veeck, but that was far from all he was known for. Maybe his most infamous moment in Chicago was the 1979 Disco Destruction Night. You got into the park for just 98 cents if you brought a disco record, and after the first game of the doubleheader, they blew up the records on the field. Well, that set off what turned out to be a bit of a riot. The stadium was so damaged they couldn't finish the game, and the Sox had to forfeit. Then, of course, there was the time with the St. Louis Browns where Veeck allowed the crowd to manage the entire game using signs. Believe it or not, they actually went on to win. But it was in that same year that Veeck really gained some notoriety when he hired 3'7" actor Eddie Goodell to be his leadoff hitter after the fans complained that they didn't have a good leadoff hitter. He hoped his strike zone was so small he would draw a walk. It turns out he was right. They put the pinch runner in. He was a character, he was one of a kind, and he definitely put his stamp on baseball here in Chicago, guys.
Boy, did he ever, and he was a very colorful owner, and he brought in the fireworks and the spinning lights over the scoreboard in Old Comiskey Park. And remember, I don't know if you remember or not, you might not have played there then, but they had a rabbit near home plate that popped out of the ground that had the baseballs for the umpire.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
I heard about
right
that.
out to the right side of the dirt, there was a trap door there, and they'd hit a button, and the rabbit would come up, had a basket full of baseballs for the umpire. He also had an artificial infield. For a while in Chicago, they had an artificial infield.
AstroTurf
infield
really?
in Comiskey Park before it became part of baseball. But yeah, he was innovative, and he obviously was a terrific owner for a long time. Dave Dombrowski, the current general manager of the Red Sox, started his career here with the White Sox and worked for Bill Veeck and Roland Heeman, two of the great baseball visionaries. And Dombrowski tells some great stories about Veeck and how colorful he was and the different ideas he had to promote the White Sox and bring the fans to his ballpark.
How about some of the colorful announcers that he hired over the years?
Harry Carey, of course, and Jimmy Pearsall.
Hawk Harrelson.
Don Drysdale was here for a while, too.
That's right.
Hopefully we'll get to see Hawk tomorrow. He doesn't do many home games, but he does Sunday home games. Petrichka strikes out Kevin Smith, or Matt Davidson, excuse me, for the first time. This ballpark, Guaranteed Rate Field, is right across the street from the site of Comiskey Park, and that's home plate, part of the parking lot across the street. And it was a beautiful ballpark. Of course, I remember George Bell hitting a home run up on the roof of Old Comiskey Park. And they've done a nice job, and they've redesigned this from time to time, too. There's Kevin Smith, who hits a chopper to shortstop. 2 quick outs here. Davidson strikes out, and now Smith grounds out.
Yeah, a lot of history at that old ballpark. The first All-Star game was at that ballpark in 1933. And then when they built this stadium, it was, I didn't like it. It was too sterile, but they've toned it down, and they've put some good features into it, like the decking and the girders and things like that in the upper deck. They've made it look like an old-time ballpark again. I like this ballpark.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think pitchers like it very well. The ball flies out of here, but Jerry Reinsdorf, the longtime owner of the White Sox and the Bulls, one of the best owners in pro sports by far. He's done some great things here in Chicago.
There's the facade.
It's bounced foul down the right side. Jaime Garcia, the center fielder, he has struck out in this only at bat. Petrichka is thrown hard. That last pitch was 96 miles an hour.
Yeah, we didn't see that at the beginning of the season. He has been up and down 3 different times with the Blue Jays. May the 4th, then called back up on May the 8th, and for the last time, June the 30th. Pitched very well for the Buffalo team.
Ground ball, Solarte to his right. Just in time to get Garcia. Good inning for Petrichka. 3 up, 3 down. No problems at all. We'll go to the 6th here in Chicago.
Celebrate back-to-back World Series championships and celebrate Blue Jays heroes of the past. Arrive early for a pregame ceremony, and the first 20,000 fans will receive an Alomar, Molitor, and Olerud triple bobblehead. That's Saturday, August 11th. BlueJays.com for tickets, guys.
Pretty interesting trio of great players there. And an opportunity to pick up that bobblehead. Tyler Danish in his second inning of work. He came in with one out in the fifth. Brandon Drury pops it out of play. Drury has a base hit, scored a run, and struck out, making his first start for the Blue Jays. Danish has that frisbee-like slider that just keeps breaking away from these right-handed hitters.
Short arms the ball from that three-quarter arm slot, so it's tough to pick the ball up coming out of his hand. Sinks it, that fastball, and then that slider. Pick up some change-ups. It's not real hard, but it's very deceptive.
Bounced into dirt. It's now 2-2 to Brandon Drury. Inside, full count. Drury's leading off the sixth. Lucas Giolito started for the White Sox. He went 4 1/3. Bouncing ball toward third. Sanchez fields and fires on the run, one away. Well, we saw tonight John Axford and Russell Martin. They were the battery for the Blue Jays tonight to start this game. Of course, they were both born in Canada. It's the first major league game to feature an all-Canadian starting battery since Denny Boucher and Joe Siddall started for the Expos on October 3rd, 1993. The last game of the season. Our own Joe Siddall now in the same category with Russ Martin and John Axford.
There you go, Joe. That's great. We see Denny at the Indians fantasy camp and different things around town with the Blue Jays. Denny and Joe, the last ones. All right. No wonder John Axford was wanting to get that start tonight with Russell Martin.
That was the game against the Pirates last day of the season. Joe was the starting catcher. He went 0 for 3, but he called the winner. Denny Boucher won that game, his third win of the season. And won that game 3-1. John Wetland picked up his 43rd save of the season. Ground ball to second. Granderson's retired. Drive of the game brought to you by the Honda Checkered Flag event. Check out their all-star lineup.
Well, we have to talk about Ludis Goryeo again for tonight. This is his first at-bat. He singles to left field for hit number 1, and this is the record breaker right here for the Blue Jays. He singles in his next at-bat to drive in 2 runs. That's 10 consecutive games with at least 2 hits. Congratulations to him. Those are our drives of the game tonight.
A franchise record for consecutive multi-hit games for Goryeo. He broke the tie with Tony Fernandez. Takes that pitch downstairs. It's 1-1. The last major leaguer to have 10 consecutive multi-hit games before Goryeo was Bernie Williams in 2002 with the Yankees.
Tough slider right there. When you watch him, remember when he first came up, you could tell he was going to be a pretty good hitter. You're seeing improvements pitch to pitch, at bat to at bat, game to game. How confident and quiet he is at the plate. Luke Jacoby's got to be very happy with what he sees from his young player.
Pulled foul. We have been told that the last rookie to have 10 multi-hit games in a row was none other than shoeless Joe Jackson. How about that? Many people talk about him as being one of the best players all time. This time Goryeo strikes out. That doesn't diminish the fact that he's had a big night at the plate. Thank you very much, Hazel. As Verlander is out of the game, 2 runs on 9 hits over 5 innings. He has turned things over to the bullpen. Aaron Loup, speaking of bullpen, Jake Petrichka goes 2 innings, gives up a run on 2 hits. Now Aaron Loup will start the 6th.
49th time that we have seen Aaron in a game this season. That is now 6th most in the American League. He last worked in that Minnesota series. In each one of those games against Minnesota, 2/3, and then an inning, a full inning on the last day. I don't know how they're going to play this one. I guess they'll go batter to batter with Loup, get him through this inning. If he stumbles just a little bit, they've got some action in the pen to help him get through it.
Tyler Clippard is already throwing for the Blue Jays down in the bullpen, so they have gotten to the 6th inning. Axford with 3, Petrichka 2. Now Aaron Loup, as he has Clippard in support behind him. 0-2. Line drive, base hit off the bat of Tim Anderson. A leadoff single here in the 6th.
At the Honda Checkered Flag event, the real victory lap is the drive home.
Great crowd on hand here tonight for this Saturday night affair in Chicago. And they always serve good food here. I can vouch for that. Yohan Moncada, the switch-hitting second baseman, turns around and bats right-handed for the first time tonight. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout.
Yeah, the next 2 batters are switch hitters, and the splits on those switch hitters, they are both weaker from the right side. So that's why Aaron's into this ball game. He'll probably pitch down to the Abreu spot in the order. And that's why Tyler Clippard is up.
Breaking ball for a strike. 1-2 now.
Anderson is the base runner over at first base. He is their best base stealer with 21 stolen bases. But right now he has no feel for the move of Aaron Loup. Loup is really toying with him.
Loup has the ability to hesitate as he breaks his hands and starts his delivery toward the plate, and it really confuses good base runners.
Yep, it looks like he's coming over to first base, but he just hangs out there and then continues home. As a base runner, if you don't know his move, chances are it's better just go on first movement.
Weak ground ball to short. Goryeo quickly to second for one. That's all they'll get. Ball wasn't hit hard enough to turn two, so they get the lead runner at second on the fielder's choice.
Moncada runs too well. Ball wasn't hit that hard. It slowed down getting to Goryeo, so no chance to turn it. I thought Solarte did the right thing. Just hold on to that ball.
Nomar Sanchez, he homered hitting left-handed his last time up back in the fourth off Jake Petrichka. He turns around and bats right-handed against Loup. Fastball misses down and in. Jose Abreu is on deck. And Blue Jays, if they get double play, of course, Loup will be out of the inning. If not, we'll probably see Clippard pitch to Abreu. Off-speed pitch. He was way out in front.
That's what you have to do as a manager. You got to play that what-if game. If I get down to their best hitter, what's the matchup do I want? Abreu is 2 for 6 against Loup in his career. Right-hander.
Abreu is 0 for 3 against Tyler Clippard, so that's why the matchup sounds favorable for the Blue Jays. A ball and 2 strikes, 1 out. There goes the base runner. Ball is past Martin all the way to the backstop. Moncada took off on the pitch, and that's Martin. And then they'll go all the way back to the backstop. It'll be a stolen base for Moncada, his 11th in 13 attempts.
They've got 4 players in the lineup with at least 10 stolen bases, and Moncada just went on first move. Like we said, if you don't know Aaron Loup's move over to first base, he goes as soon as he picks up that front foot.
That's just the 3rd stolen base with Loup on the mound this season, and Sanchez goes around and strikes out. So right on cue, John Gibbons is out of the Blue Jays dugout. He has made the call to the bullpen for Tyler Clippard. So Loup gets 2 outs here in the 6th. The base runner at second, Moncada, is his responsibility. Clippard will come into the game to face Jose Abreu. Blue Jays up 5-1. Fans, you won't believe where WestJet rewards can take you. Redeem your WestJet dollars to over 450 partner destinations around the globe. Join today at westjet.com/rewards. Tyler Clippard into the ball game. He inherits a situation with 2 outs and a runner at second, and he'll face Jose Abreu.
Yeah, the 2 best hitters coming up for the White Sox, Abreu and Garcia. So John Gibbons wants his experienced closer into the game right here. There are numbers for Tyler in 51 games this season. He was a White Sox player last season for 11 games, 10 whole innings for the White Sox before they traded him to Houston. So he knows this team. He has faced Abreu 3 times in his career. He hasn't given up a hit.
Moncada's at second. Blue Jays have a 5-1 lead. First pitch strike delivered by Clippard. Abreu single to right back in the 4th. He's 1 for 2. Clippard in his 12th big league season. Big off-speed pitch. Abreu's fooled badly. Tyler is 33 years old. He started with the New York Yankees, came to the big leagues in 2007 for the first time. As Pat mentioned, last year he split time between the Yankees, the White Sox, and the Astros. He was a busy man traveling around.
3 teams in the 1 year. He's been busy this year. 52 games now.
Upstairs, 1-2 to Abreu. Abreu is their big RBI guy, and an RBI in last night's game. That's got him up to 59. He's driven in 100 in each of his first 4 big league seasons. Fly ball to center field. Grichuk has it. Moncada doesn't know how many outs there are. He went back to tag, and that's the 3rd out of the inning. Abreu flies out. Clippard gets his man. We'll go to the 7th. The Blue Jays trying to make it 2 in a row here in Chicago. Here on Sportsnet, it'll be Monday, Sportsnet 1. It all starts at 8 Eastern. The Indians are in Minneapolis, take on the Twins. Cleveland currently has an 8-game lead over Minnesota. That's all on Monday night, Sportsnet 1. So you can check out all the action as we get closer and closer to that trade deadline. It'll be Tuesday, July 31st at 4 p.m. Eastern time. That'll be the trade deadline for the non-waiver trade deadline. New pitcher in the game is Xavier Cedeno making his 19th appearance.
What a nice year he's starting to put together. In just 18 games this year, he doesn't have a record. Right-handers are hitting 100 against him. Lefties 179. It's cutter curveball from Cedeno. He was with the Tampa Bay Rays, so the Blue Jays know all about Cedeno.
He's had 8 years in the big leagues. This is his first season with Chicago. Delivers that first pitch breaking ball. That's his money pitch. He throws cutters, curveballs, and sliders. Doesn't really throw a true fastball.
No, he just throws a lot of off-speed stuff. He was a free agent, chose free agency in December this past year. White Sox picked him up, signed a minor league contract with the White Sox at the end of January. They're carrying 4 lefties out of their pen.
Cedeno is from Puerto Rico. He's originally drafted by Colorado in 2005. Smoak pops it up back behind home plate. Nobody saw it. Neither the catcher Kevin Smith or Abreu really went after it, and I hope they didn't see it. But it hit on the warning track in front of the Blue Jays dugout. Very catchable ball, but you can see the twilight sky. Tough to pick up that baseball. Smith reacted as if he never saw it off the bat. Smoak had a leadoff double his last time up in the 5th. That was off the starter, Lucas Giolito. Smoak hit it to left field against the shift. For Smoak, that was his 28th double of the season. It's this one foul. We mentioned that game on Monday night. Cleveland in Minnesota. It'll be Shane Bieber for the Indians against Irvin Santana for the Twins. Santana just back off the DL after a long stint with an injured finger.
Yeah, and he was okay. Wasn't great. He was okay. Should help Minnesota.
He went 5 innings, was charged with 3 earned runs on 7 hits. Smoak hits it to the third baseman. Sanchez cuts in front of the shortstop, makes a nice play. That'll bring Kendrys Morales to the plate. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Had an RBI single in the first inning, drove in the first run of the game, and the season has gone on. Morales has gotten better and better.
He was also robbed a couple of times tonight from base hits, so he's been swinging a hot bat. His on base plus his slugging average keeps growing each month. April, not very good. May, not real good. But then June, that's where you want. You want to be around 800 or above. And he's put together an outstanding month of July.
Goes after the first pitch, and it's it high and deep to center. Garcia back and missed the ball. It's up against the fence in center, and Morales is headed for second. His second hit of the night, 2 for 4.
Kendrys came into this game hitting .345 in the month of July with 4 home runs, and he's hit the ball hard 4 times tonight. Center fielder Rickey Garcia didn't have a chance at this one. Muffed it up, high breaking ball, and he jumps all over it.
This is something that hasn't been talked about a lot as you look at Garcia. Mistimed his leap and actually misplayed that ball, but it's a double for Morales. How about Kendrys Morales being appealing to a contending ball club? He's got a track record of being a great hitter. He's an RBI guy. He's a switch hitter.
Would that contender have to be an American League team?
Yes. Oh, no question about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you try to think about the possibilities.
Who needs a DH or who needs an extra hitter?
That fellow named Judge is on the DL in New York. Cleveland, they've got a lot of hitters, and they've got guys that hit the DH spot. How about Houston? Does he fit there?
They got a lot of young players. I don't know.
How about Seattle?
Well, Nelson Cruz is their DH.
Yeah, what?
So
Nelson Cruz is one of the best.
Probably wouldn't get too much playing time out there.
But it's kind of interesting the way that Morales is swinging the bat. I bet you there are people scratching their head thinking, can he help us? Hey, you never know how many times you're going to be in a pennant race.
Take advantage of it.
Hot shot knocked down by Abreu. Solarte up the line as Cedeno stepped and missed the bag initially, but kicked at it again and got on the base in time to beat Solarte.
Well, the timing was really messed up on that play because it wasn't handled cleanly. But Abreu just took his time. Initially, the ball rockets at him. Now watch him just take his time. He says, okay, I got to flip it to the pitcher. But Cedeno had run by the base and alertly catches it with his bare hand. It looks like he shoved it into his glove and then found the base.
It's a pretty good play by the pitcher. You're right, because of the bobble, the timing was off a bit, and Cedeno had run past the base. But they're able to connect. Morales goes to third on the plate. Teoscar Hernandez. Teoscar's 0 for 3. Now I'm just throwing that Morales suggestion out there because of the way he's swinging the bat.
Right.
Everybody's trying to look for a hot bat, a hot pitcher, maybe a hot reliever that can help your team in a pennant race.
Yeah, maybe you don't count out a National League team.
Use him as a pinch hitter off the bench. Maybe a spot start at first base from time to time.
Right. Every team can use a veteran who can hit, especially a switch hitter.
Well, I tell you one thing, there's enough teams in that pennant race in the National League for the wild card spot. San Francisco Giants are 5 games out of the wild card spot. And they are the 8th team within 5 games.
Amazing. Amazing.
2 balls and no strikes. Now it's 3-0. Milwaukee Brewers have a 2.5 game advantage for the first wild card spot. Then the Arizona Diamondbacks are half a game ahead of the Braves and the Rockies. Then you've got the Pirates at 3 back, Cardinals 3.5 back, the Nationals 4 back, and the Giants 5 back. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And it's going to stay like that, I think, to the end of the season. Enjoy the pennant race in the National League.
Yeah, the closest race in the American League is a 5-game gap between the Astros and the Mariners in the West in the American League. But boy, if you're a National League fan, there's a lot of teams that are in the hunt.
So what do we have? 3 days till the trade deadline?
Tuesday at 4 o'clock Eastern time.
Look at all those teams. They can make a trade to be the difference getting into the playoffs.
The Brewers are only a game behind the Cubs for the division lead in the Central.
And they just got Mike Moustakas.
Yes, they did. Mike Moustakas was traded earlier today as Teoscar takes ball 4. So that's an interesting move with Moustakas. They have Travis Shaw at third base in Milwaukee. He'll go to second.
They want to move him to second base. Yeah. What an offensive team they're putting together now in Milwaukee.
Well, they made some good acquisitions in the offseason. After they signed Lorenzo Cain as a free agent, they went out and traded for Christian Yelich.
Well, like 5 years of his control. Also,
Yelich is hitting .317 with 14 homers and 54 RBIs. Jesus Aguilar leads the team with 25 home runs. Russell Martin's had a big night at the plate. He's reached base in all 3 times he's come to the plate. A walk, a homer, and a single. And their Blue Jay fans chanting his name. Xavier Cedeno in his first inning of relief. 1-1. Breaking ball for strike 2.
Just sit on a breaking ball. I think that's what you have to do against Cedeno. you're going to get off speed after off speed pitch from him. That's what they're looking for.
Russell's had three hit games this season, most recently on the 4th of July against the Mets. Boy, he had a good cut at that pitch. That might have been a cutter.
Looked like it. A little bit harder than his curveball. Looked like Russell was looking for it and had a good swing at it.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Runners at the corners for the Blue Jays. Jays have a 5-1 lead as they bat here in the 7th. The breaking ball missed off to the outside edge. Breaking ball called strike 3. That'll end the inning. Blue Jays leave a couple of base runners on. Go to the bottom of the 7th. Blue Jays with a 5-1 lead.
Namesake. They share a name and share a game, but Vladimir Guerrero Sr. and Jr. followed very different roads to baseball stardom. This intimate all-access documentary tells the complex family story of the last great Expo and the next great Blue Jay. Guys, that should be very good.
Indeed, Sean, and now we'll take a look at the farm report. Of course, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been promoted from AA New Hampshire to AAA Buffalo, but he won't report until Tuesday after the Hall of Fame induction of his father. But Pat, he put up ridiculous numbers in AA.
Yeah, this is for a 19-year-old, okay? 19 years old, his first taste at AA, hit over 400. Remember, he's coming back from that knee injury that he sustained, was out about 4 to 6 weeks, something like that. But he just kept on hitting once he came back. On base percentage way up there. Lefties, righties, it doesn't matter. His grade, if you will, as a hitter is an 80, which is the best in scout speak. So now you move him up to AAA, see what he can do up there to help the AAA team.
Guerrero played in 61 games in AA because of that knee injury. He's driven in 60 runs in AA. That's good for 5th in the league. And he played in just 61 games. Will Craig leads the league with 82 ribbies. He's played in 97 games. And he has 112 more at-bats than Vladimir Guerrero.
So offensively, it's time to move him up. We don't know that much about him defensively, his base running, all the other things. But that's that doesn't matter right now.
The Blue Jays, they've got a plan for all these young players, and they want them to have a complete development process, and we've talked about it often. The final process is done right here in the big leagues as you make adjustment to big league pitching and the rigors of traveling from coast to coast in the big leagues. But what they have done, and I think it's really important, is they've emphasized being a good teammate, being a leader, being part of a winning attitude and a winning atmosphere, and they're going to build that kind of baseball player in the minors and before they promote them to the big leagues, and hopefully they'll have an entire core of homegrown talent to bring to the majors.
I couldn't agree with it anymore too, about being a good teammate, a leader, a baseball player, good in the community, all of that.
Represent the organization well.
Absolutely.
Character.
Those are the kind of guys that you win with.
Garcia strikes out. One away. Let's check in with Hazel May. What a season J.D. Martinez has put together. The home run gives him 86 RBIs. And it's not August yet.
Yeah. And you know what? Once it gets into August, mid-August, then you can start talking about MVP votes and things like that. Right now, he's got to be at the top of the list.
Well, he's sure done a heck of a job. He's just what the doctor ordered for that Red Sox team. They were down a bunch in home runs last year, and now they're right at the top again.
He's just transformed that offense into one of the best in baseball.
Well, and it's interesting too, because you know the Yankees, they've had their issues lately, and yeah, they've picked up Zach Britton and Jay Happ, but at the same time, they're not scoring many runs now. They got beat early in game 1 today by the Kansas City Royals, and now they're tied 3-3 in second game of a doubleheader.
No Aaron Judge. He's going to be out about 3 weeks. No Gary Sanchez.
You know, I think the Sanchez injury is more significant than the Judge injury. Obviously, the magnitude of the injury is serious. But I think because he's the catcher and because it's caused problems for him catching, I think that's an issue for New York. There's a high fly ball to right field. And Nikki Delmonico has just hit a home run. For Delmonico, that's his 3rd home run. He had a home run Wednesday afternoon in Anaheim, and he goes deep against Tyler Clippard here in the 7th.
And it's the second 0-2 count home run given up by the Blue Jays tonight. With a couple of pitches by Delmonico and then tried an off-speed pitch. I told you this is a launching pad, if you will, type of field that gives up a lot of home runs. So you got to continually make good pitches. Again, 0-2. That's a splitter that stayed out over the plate.
Not exactly where Clippard wanted that pitch. Delmonico hits it out of the ballpark. Matt Davidson, the DH. Another look at the home run. Delmonico missed a lot of time with a fractured hand. That's just his 3rd home run of the season. Davidson rips it foul.
Lots of power from Matt Davidson. Last night we saw some power on the mound. Looked like he was lobbying to be a pitcher, that he wants to keep pitching in those situations. Some of the articles in the paper today.
It's this ball to right. Granderson's on the run. He'll get there. Makes the catch.
He's got to catch it through the smoke after the home run. Wow.
And not much breeze here, and that smoke is lingering. Granderson had to do a heck of a job of finding that baseball in the smoky haze. Now Kevin Smith, he's taking his time getting in the batter's box, hoping for a quick breeze here. Smith got the first White Sox hit of the ball game. It was a leadoff single in the third inning. It was an infield chopper up the third baseline. John Axford, the pitcher, fielded it, bobbled it, and that allowed Smith to beat it out. Initially, he was called out, but the call on the field was overturned by video review. Oh, 0-2. Tyler Clippard got the final out of the sixth inning as he got Abreu to fly out to center.
Everybody has to stretch it out just a little bit more on these bullpen type of days. If you're a one-inning pitcher, you're being asked to pitch 2 innings. If you're a 3-batter type of pitcher, they're asking you to do 4 or 5. Stretch it out just a little bit.
Liner, that's over the second baseman's head into center field. Kevin Smith with his second hit of the night. That'll push his average over 300.
Just couldn't finish him off again. 2 strikes. Another off-speed pitch over the middle of the plate.
Yeah, Tyler hasn't been able to get that ball out of the strike zone with 2 strikes. That's the thought process. You get a guy down 2 strikes, you throw him a changeup or the splitter. Hopefully it's out of the zone and he'll chase it. Rickey Garcia, the center fielder, is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Ball in the dirt. That gets away from Martin. Smith will advance on the wild pitch.
Another splitter in the dirt. Russell can't keep that one in front of him. And now a base hit will make it a 2-run game.
Tyler Clippard is the 4th Blue Jay pitcher to pitch here tonight. Axford started, went 3. Petrichka 2 innings. Luke 2/3 of an inning. Way out in front of that off-speed offering. Ball and a strike to the center fielder. John Axford made his first big league start here tonight, and he was impressive. Threw 38 pitches over 3 innings, allowed just 1 hit, didn't walk a batter, and had a strikeout.
If he can get this batter right here, it would be his longest outing since May the 13th. He hasn't pitched more than an inning since then. That's when he pitched an inning and 2/3 versus the Boston Red Sox. So everybody is being asked to stretch it out just a little bit further tonight.
Throw to second base, and the runner is back safely ahead of the tag by Goryeo.
That's a set play right there. Either the catcher or the shortstop will give you that sign. Say, hey, I'm going to be there. The swing and miss, and Russell throws a strike. But Smith, the catcher, alertly gets back just ahead of that throw. That's close.
Very close. Strong throw by Martin. Now it's 2-2 with 2 outs. There's a base hit to center. Kevin Smith is going to come around third to score. Garcia picks up his first hit of the night. It's an RBI single with 2 outs. 3 hits in the inning for the White Sox, and they are back in this ball game.
The wild pitch comes into play. I said it's now a 2-run game because of that wild pitch and base hit. They tried to elevate a fastball, but you just can't get it up high enough. And Garcia jumps all over it. This one's got to be above the letters, but it catches too much of the plate, and the White Sox have cut into this lead now.
It's a 2-run game. Pete Walker with a quick visit to the mound. Now you've got to focus on the base runner at first. I know they're down by 2, but you got the number 9 hitter Anderson hitting. Garcia is 10 for 10 in stolen base attempts. So you've got to make sure you stop him at first.
If he ends up getting thrown out, then you start the next inning with Tim Anderson.
Got an average lead at first. He broke, but didn't like his jump. Took a step towards second.
I liked it. He got a big jump and he picked on a pretty good pitch down and away, but he stopped.
Teams have 5 stolen bases with Clippard on the mound. Anderson with a wild swing. It's 1-1 now. Base runners are 5 for 7 against Tyler Clippard in these base stealing situations. Not running. Another foul back to the screen. I would expect the White Sox might start to run her now with the hitter behind 1 and 2.
And he's been throwing breaking balls, off-speed pitches with 2 strikes. He's been measuring them over at first base.
Not running again. And Anderson strikes out. That'll end the inning. Tyler Clippard, not sure how many outs there are. Clippard wasn't sure. He was out. Hey, give me the ball back. I want to start again. Nope. The inning is over. We'll go to the 8th. White Sox get a run. They make it a 2-run game. Is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Over shot of Chicago River, downtown Chicago. New pitcher for the White Sox is the big right-hander, Juan Minaya.
Yeah, he can get wild at times. He's listed at 6'4", 210. He's got a fastball, curveball, slider, and a little bit changeup that he's been working on this past springs, but he's averaged a walk an inning. 20 walks at 19 2/3 innings to go along with 26 strikeouts for Minaya.
It'll be 8-9-1 for the Blue Jays here in the 8th inning. They are holding on to a 5-3 lead. The White Sox are chipping away. Xavier Cedeno pitched an inning. He gave up a hit, no runs, walked a batter, and struck out one. Grichuk is 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch, and now he's got a base hit. The looper into center field. That's a good start for the Blue Jays here in the 8th.
They need to cash in some of these runs. They've left too many runners on base tonight. They've left 2 runners on base in the 1st, 2nd, 5th, and 7th inning. Got to figure out a way to bring them around. That's a good start as Grichuk picks up his first hit.
They've had plenty of opportunities. They're 4 for 12 hitting with runners in scoring position, but you're right, they've left too many on. 8 stranded so far. They have 12 hits. Brandon Drury, the third baseman, has one of those 12 hits. This could be 2. One hopper to Anderson, back to second, over to first. It is a double play. So that leadoff single is erased on the next pitch. A 6-4-3 double play off the bat of Brandon Drury. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 8th, it'll be the top of the order for the White Sox. So the Blue Jays might want to tack on a run or 2 here.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They got the 12 hits. They've only been able to coax 2 walks tonight. That was a big part of the game last night.
Four walks in the game last night, and 3 of them came in to score. Curtis Granderson, 2 hits in each of his first 2 plate appearances. Is 2 for 4 for the night.
Pop out and a ground out. It's 5th at bat already.
There's a good fastball. 1-2.
Blue Jays saw Manaea way back, the second series of the season back at Rogers Center. He only threw 1/3 of an inning, but he shows a pretty good fastball.
Manaea he last pitched in Anaheim on Wednesday. Just 2/3 of an inning. He gave up 3 runs on 2 hits. He gave up the first big league home run to Francisco Arcia, the catcher for the Angels. That came in the 7th inning. There's a good off-speed pitch as Granderson strikes out. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. The Blue Jays have a 2-run lead. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Hazel May and Joe Siddall in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Hurry in to grab the Civic that matches your game.
We're in Chicago, bottom of the 8th inning. Jaime Garcia will start the bottom of the 8th inning. Garcia's pitched very well out of the bullpen lately.
Yeah, he came into this season and having been a reliever just 14 times in his career out of 201 games. But his last 2 outings out of the bullpen, he's thrown 3 innings, retired all 9 batters he faced. And he followed that up against Minnesota on the 25th, 2 innings, 6 up, 6 down for Garcia. He's got the 8th inning tonight for the Blue Jays.
A couple of switch hitters to start against Garcia. John Moncada and Yolmer Sanchez. As Pat mentioned earlier, they're both weaker from the right side than the left side, so that's why Garcia's in to start this inning.
Yeah, it looks like the same game plan for the Blue Jays with Moncada and Sanchez. Bring in a left-hander, and then when the big right-handers come up, Abreu and Garcia, have Ryan Tepera ready for him. Garcia was good out of the pen in that series against Minnesota, just attacking the strike zone with his fastball. He's got outstanding stuff that moves all over the place, and he just kept pounding it in there, and they couldn't do anything with it.
Fouled straight back. It's 1-2 now to Moncada. Moncada's 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Hitting just .228 on the season. Inside. The Blue Jays won 2 of 3 against the White Sox the first time these teams met up at Rogers Center early in the season. They won last night 10-5, and they have a 5-3 lead here tonight. Jaime Garcia, the 5th Blue Jay pitcher to work here tonight. Axford started, followed by Petrichka, Loop, Clippard, and now Garcia. A bullpen night. Leadoff walk. So Yolmer Sanchez, who has homered tonight, but that home run came as a left-handed hitter. That was in the 4th off Jake Petrichka.
That is something tough to do against Moncada, who is a free swinger. To walk him. He strikes out a lot, but a leadoff walk. Now you got your work cut out for you. Need a ground ball.
Yolmer Sanchez, also a switch hitter, batting right-handed against Garcia. Ball in the dirt, blocked by Martin. Garcia doesn't have an awful lot of work against the White Sox. Sanchez officially 0 for 0 against Garcia. Takes all the way. It's 2-0. Ryan Tepera is throwing in the Blue Jays bullpen with Abreu on deck. He appears to be ready, just standing by if needed.
Yeah, he was up to start this inning, and I'm sure the game plan is, hey, you've got 2 batters to face, and then Ryan, you're going to be in here.
A little surprised that Sanchez swung at that pitch, a 2-0 borderline pitch with Abreu on deck, especially after the leadoff walk. This is just the 2nd game Garcia has ever pitched against the White Sox. His only other outing was a start. It's a high pitch. He chases. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Garcia is helped out by Sanchez at the plate, going after a couple of borderline pitches. Ground ball. Garcia to second and throws high, but Solarte is able to get back on the bag. Good effort by Solarte as Garcia threw that to the shortstop side of second. Solarte was pulled off the bag initially, but got back down ahead of the base runner Moncada.
That could have been really dangerous for the Blue Jays. Solarte looks like he might have hurt his shoulder stretching for that ball. Jaime Garcia came off the mound, fielded that ball, threw the ball to second base, but it was high. This one looked like it was heading out into center field.
You just wonder if the base runner slides in that situation, if he doesn't make it closer. But you could see him breaking it down because he was running standing up. But Solarte got back down in time to get the force out. Well, he did a heck of a job.
That's a heads-up play to get the force out.
So here is Jose Abreu. Garcia left in to face Abreu. The numbers for Tepera against Abreu aren't good. So that's why Garcia is in here. Tepera has been hit hard by Abreu, who is 4 for 7 against Tepera with a home run. So the Blue Jays like the matchup with Garcia facing Abreu.
If he makes this pitch, he can get a ground ball.
2-0.
Because his pitches move all over the place. It's tough to square him up and hit it hard.
I'm sure the Blue Jays would like to save Tepera for the 9th, just give him a clean inning. That's ripped to left field. That's down for a base hit. Sanchez is headed for third. Abreu will end up at second. So the tying run is in scoring position at second base. Jose Abreu with his second hit of the night, a big double here in the 8th inning. That pitch was right out over the plate and he jumped all over it. John Gibbons making his way to the mound. Ryan Tepera will come in with 2 aboard. Tying run in scoring position. Tepera will face Garcia. Ryan Tepera inherits a second and third situation with just 1 out. He's making his 43rd appearance of the season, and it's been a good season for Tepera.
Yeah, it has. He's been on the disabled list for a while. He's just coming back from that and building back up that arm strength. But in 42 games, he's got a 274 earned run average. He's got 7 saves this season, and right now they need a strikeout. And that's what he is in there to do. He's averaging over a strikeout an inning this season. He last worked 3 days ago in that lost to the Minnesota Twins 12-6. He's facing Jaime Garcia, who he can strike out. He's got a great slider.
Garcia has struck out once tonight. He is 1 for 3 with a strikeout. Goes after the first pitch and swings and misses. Garcia had a single to right field in the 4th. He struck out against Clippard in the 7th. Now it's 0-2.
They might have got away with one right there. They wanted that ball elevated. But he's got enough fastball to get it by Jaime Garcia. He can get you 2 ways now. He's got that 2-seamer that just sinks down and into the righties, or a cutter that he's very fond of and throws really well, especially to right-handed hitters.
0-2 to Perez ahead. Ground ball through the left side. Sanchez is in to score. Abreu moves to third as Garcia delivers an RBI single. And it's a 1-run game.
Yeah, it's another 0-2 base hit given up by the Blue Jays. And again, they missed their spot when they try to elevate a pitch, a fastball. That's not his bread and butter. His bread and butter is down. They try to go elevate again, and it's right there for Garcia. Abreu singles in the left field. Ryan upset with himself, knowing that he didn't execute that 0-2 pitch.
And now the left-handed hitting Nikki Delmonico steps in the box. He homered it his last time up. It's a 5-4 game. Ball almost gets away as that hit him. Delmonico gets hit by a pitch, and that'll load the bases. Tepera looked like he threw him a cut fastball. It caught Delmonico down in his lower leg.
Trying to get that double play. Trying to get the ball on the ground, and hits him right on top of the foot. And with that, going to send the pinch hitter up.
The bases are loaded. Just 1 out, and Daniel Palka. Last night in the game, he was 2 for 4, had a double in the 9th inning off Oliver Drake. So the White Sox are threatening to bust it wide open here. They get back in the game. It's a 1-run game. Abreu's at third. Jaime Garcia is at second, and Nikki Delmonico's at first. Palka, the pinch hitter. Palka 1 for 8 as a pinch hitter, but he has a home run. His one hit was a home run.
He is big and strong, and he's looking to get the ball into the outfield, looking to lift it.
Palka has 14 home runs this season, and it's 2-0. It is superhero night here in Chicago, and Palka can certainly become a superhero with a base hit. Jaime Garcia started this inning, and he recorded just 1 out, and he was fortunate to get that 1 out because Solarte made a nice play at second to get a force out. Garcia threw 14 pitches, walked a batter, and gave up a double to Abreu. 3-0. There's a strike. Palka is batting for Matt Davidson, the DH.
They got the right side in. Justin Smoak is in on the grass. He's going to come home with any ground ball.
Ground ball past Smoak into right. Abreu is in to score. Here comes Garcia. He's going to score. And the White Sox have taken the lead.
They elect to bring the first baseman in to try to cut off that run at the plate, and the White Sox cross him up by hitting it by him. This all started with a harmless leadoff walk to the leadoff batter. There's Smoak on the grass, and that's by him into the outfield. 2-run score, and it's been another big inning late for the White Sox. They scored 3 runs in the 9th inning last night. They've put 3 runs on the board tonight.
Palka, with 2 RBIs as a pinch hitter, now has 5 ribbies coming off the bench. That's the most in the American League.
They could do anything here.
Kevin Smith shows bunt, and Tepera bounced it about 3 feet in front of home. I don't know how Martin caught that ball.
He caught it like a first baseman, picking a low throw in the dirt. The safety squeeze was on, and this ball bounces away from him, and somehow Russell comes up with it. That is the safety squeeze right there. You squeeze her, you turn around early, put the ball down on the ground. The runner at third base reads if it's a good bunt. Tough to defend that play.
Delmonico's the runner at third. Smith again squares and bunts it off of Russell Martin. Might have got him on the hand. Russell looking at that meat hand. That foul ball caught him on that bare hand.
Again, safety squeeze, high fastball. That's where you want to throw that pitch when you know they're bunting. That chest high fastball, tough to keep it on the ground. Russell trying to shake that one off.
Yeah, he's not really sure whether or not he can throw. So Jose Ministral, the assistant trainer, will come out and check on Russell here. You get a foul tip, and all those fingers are exposed, obviously. Takes you a while to get the feeling back in those fingers. Kevin Smith getting a visit from Nick Capper, the third base coach, delivering this next play verbally. The White Sox have scored 3 in the bottom of the 8th to take a 6-5 lead.
If you're the runner at first base, do you take off here?
After he gets hit by a pitch?
Yeah. They're not going to let him throw a ball, see if he's okay. So do you take off?
It's Daniel Palka at first. He's not a base stealing threat. And certainly there's no reason to be gambling here because you've already got a lead. They can show bunt again, and if they bunt it toward the second baseman, chances are it's going to give you another run. Delmonico is the runner at third, Palka at first. The pair almost threw that one away. White Sox scored 2 in the 7th. They've scored 3 here in the 8th, and there's still just 1 out.
Not a huge lead, but he's thinking something is up, and Smoak again corrals a wide throw.
1-1. Fouled straight back. So now with 2 strikes, you would expect there's no longer a chance for a bunt.
Yeah, they're not holding that runner on at first base.
Yeah, you know what? The White Sox, they can really roll the dice here. They're already up by a run. You can start the runner here at first, maybe draw the throw, depending on who pitched to Smith. The runner not going. Martin with another nice grab, a low pitch in the dirt.
That's twice he has saved a run with his glove work.
Daniel Palka on Superhero Night plays the role, comes up with a big 2-run single to give the White Sox the lead. Kevin Smith, the catcher. Here's the 2-2 pitch. There goes the runner. Cut on and fouled off. They had started Palka from first.
Yeah, that serves two purposes right there. It opens up a hole on the infield. The second baseman was covering. Also, if he hits a ground ball and you start the runner, you're going to get a run. You can't turn a double play on that type of ball. The runner at third will score, and the runner will be at second base. No, it's a good aggressive move by the White Sox to start that runner.
Well, Tepera is set for another 2-2 pitch. Palka not running here. That hit him. Tepera has hit 2 batters in this inning. He hits Smith on a 2-2 pitch, and that'll reload the bases. This has been an ugly inning.
That's what happens, you know, when you have these type of games. That's that two-seamer that clips Smith. You got these bullpen games. The guys who would normally be throwing in the 7th or 8th inning are throwing at the beginning of the game. Axford and Petrichka.
Tepera is the 6th pitcher to work here tonight. Jaime Garcia had a single his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Line drive left field. That's a fair ball. 1 run is in. Delmonico scores right behind him. Another, and now they're going to clear the bases. Jaime Garcia with a 3-run triple to left.
It's been an awful inning for the Blue Jays. A huge inning. 6 runs for the White Sox to blow this one open.
Ryan Tepera does not record an out. He gives up a single, hit a batter, another single, hit a batter, and now gives up a 3-run triple.
Save big at the outdoor living event at Home Hardware, on from July 25th to August 7th. Here's how.
A rough inning for the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the 8th inning. This will be the 3rd pitcher in the inning, Oliver Drake. And Oliver made his Blue Jays debut last night. He had a rough inning. He gave up 4 hits and 3 runs in an inning of work.
Yeah, with a strikeout. He's stranded 6 of his 7 inherited runners this year. There's another one out there for him. That splitter could come in handy here.
Infield is drawn in with Garcia at third base. Brian Tepera is responsible for the run at third. Jaime Garcia, a third of an inning, charged with 2 runs on a hit. He walked a batter. He threw 14 pitches. Ryan Tepera did not record an out. He's been charged with 4 runs to this point. Tim Anderson, a number 9 hitter. The ball in the dirt. Jaime Garcia started the inning and walked the leadoff man Moncada, and then got the only out of the inning on a fielder's choice to the second baseman Solarte. Popped in the air, Smoak into foul ground. Garcia's tagging at third. He'll come down the line and stop. As Smoak makes the catch and gets the ball back in quickly. So that's the second out of the inning. And now Moncada, who started the inning with a leadoff walk, will bat the 10th White Sox batter to hit this inning. The Garcia triple, Larry Garcia, that's his 5th triple of the season. He drives in 3 runs to give him 26.
He wasn't stopping either. I mean, he hit that ball down the left field line. That is rare, a triple down the left field line, because the throw was so much shorter, but he wasn't stopping. He was going to force them to cut the ball. And if the Blue Jays did, if they could have executed that play, he was trying to force them to cut the ball and get him out and score that extra run. The Blue Jays muffed the relay from the outfield, so it's a moot point.
And cleared the base as Delmonico scored from third, Talca from second, and Kevin Smith all the way from first. 2 balls and no strikes to the leadoff hitter Moncada. He fouls it off. Blue Jays have gone 7 deep out of their bullpen, including the starter, John Axford. Axford was great, 3 innings of 1-hit ball. Didn't walk a batter and struck out 1. Strike 2. It's a full count now. Oliver Drake pitching in his 2nd game with the Blue Jays. He was picked up off the waiver wire from the Angels.
He has major league experience with the Baltimore Orioles. We've seen him the last few years.
Drake has spent parts of 4 seasons in the majors. His first year in 2015 with Baltimore. Got into 13 games. Last year he appeared in 64 games with the Orioles and Milwaukee. Spent the majority of the season with the Brewers. And he strikes out Moncada to end the inning. But what an inning it was for the White Sox. They score 6 runs. And the big hit in the inning, a 2-run pinch hit single by Daniel Palka coming off the bench to give the White Sox the lead. We'll be right back here at Guaranteed Rate Field tomorrow as the Blue Jays and White Sox wrap up this 3-game series. It all starts at 1:30 Eastern Time. That's the pregame show, 10:30 Pacific Time. Brian Barucki, a Chicago native, will make his Chicago debut pitching against his favorite team, the Chicago White Sox. And he will go to the mound, face the White Sox, and the White Sox will send Carlos Rodon to the mound. Here's Jace Fry trying to close things out for Chicago.
Jace Fry's got a pretty good arm with some sink to it. A little slider, curveball, changeup. He's going to come right after you now with a nice 3-to-1 fastball to walk, strikeout to walk ratio.
Rickey Garcia moves to left field. Adam Engel takes over in center field. He's their regular center fielder. So Nikki Delmonico is out of the game. Ball on a strike to Ludis Goryeo. He is 2 for 4. Another multi-hit game. That's 10 straight multi-hit games for Goryeo. That sets a new Blue Jays franchise record for consecutive games with multi-hits. Chases a breaking ball in the dirt. Fry is 25 years old. Drafted out of Oregon State by the Oakland Athletics in 2011 and didn't sign. He later signed with the White Sox after they took him in the 3rd round. He's from Beaverton, Oregon. He's 25 years old.
Made his big league debut last September with this team. Came from Double-A.
Ground ball to the shortstop. Anderson throws on the run in time to retire Goryeo. Now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central. Here's Brendan and Danielle. Thank you very much. Now stay tuned for that. Vlad Guerrero is going into the Hall of Fame tomorrow, and Junior is going to Buffalo after that ceremony. Justin Smoak, he's 1 for 4 tonight, had a double and scored a run in the 5th. Outside. 2-0. The Blue Jays trail by 4. They scored a run in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, and 1 in the 3rd, and then added another run in the 5th. They had a 5-1 lead at that point.
And out hitting them, what, like 11-4 at that time?
2 away.
They have come all the way back. They're taking the lead, and they have now had 12 hits to tie the Blue Jays. 12 hits.
The White Sox bullpen has really shut down the Blue Jays. Tyler Danish, Xavier Cedeno, Juan Minaya, now Jace Fry. They have kept the Blue Jays off the board. All 5 runs were scored against Lucas Giolito, the starter for Chicago. And Kendrys Morales, the last hope. Kendrys has had a nice night. 2 for 4 with a double and an RBI single. He's driven in 20 runs against the White Sox in his last 17 games played against them. Now it's 1-1. Well, a big crowd on hand here tonight. It's Superheroes Night. They have fireworks after the game, and they have come out to support the White Sox in a tough season. Swing and a miss. 1-2.
In the battle of the bullpens, it looks like the White Sox are going to win this one. Been a bullpen day for the Blue Jays, and it worked out all the way until those last 2 innings.
Cut on and missed, and that's the ball game. Jace Fry comes in and retires the side in order. In the ninth. A disappointing loss for the Blue Jays. Some clutch hitting by the White Sox.
Yeah, the White Sox score 8 runs in their last 2 at-bats against the Blue Jays to wipe out that big lead that they had of 5-1. The bullpen shuts the door for the White Sox. They throw 4 2/3 innings, don't give up a run to the Blue Jays. That gives the offense a chance to come back and win it, and they'll have a chance tomorrow to win the series.
The rookie Ryan Baraki will have a chance to win the series for the Blue Jays. He'll make his first start here in this ballpark. Now, stay tuned. Here's Sportsnet Central with Brendan and Danielle. Thanks for watching, everybody.